Hello and welcome to this week's episode of your Power Packed Podlets. My name is Rachel and I'm your host for these mini magical journeys together. I'm going to ask you a question. How high are your pain tolerance levels? How good are you at tolerating uncomfortable things for long periods of time? And the reason I ask you this question isn't why you're probably thinking right now. Because what if the discomfort that you're good at tolerating are the very things that are getting in the way of what you desire in life? I see this so many times with clients. When they come to me and we start working together, that they've been tolerating things, really uncomfortable things, rather than saying, I'm done with this and actually going for what they want. I started using what I now understand as manifestation techniques at a really young age without realizing it. Before it was like mainstream conversation. And I'm going to be sharing one with you that served me greatly to experiencing incredible things in life, consciously creating incredible things in life. Now, before I do, if you're hearing background sounds of birds and of life, it's because I'm on the rooftop of my apartment block in Playa del Carmen. And so the world is just waking up. It's about 7 in the morning. I've got my coffee. I'm doing my morning practice. And I was thinking of you. I was thinking of all of you listening into these weekly podcasts. And I thought, you know what, this technique that I've used, without even realizing it was a technique at first, has made such a profound difference in my life, and I want to share it with you. And I invite you to start practicing it. Start looking at areas in your life where you're tolerating things that really you're done with. Because you have a capacity, which we're told is really good. And for some things, it is good. Having a capacity to tolerate discomfort is good, especially when it comes to growth, right? When it comes to the growth of your business, when it comes to working out, our capacity to tolerate discomfort is really good because it moves us forwards. But what if you're tolerating an income that's unsatisfactory? What if you're tolerating working really long hours? What if you're tolerating burnout or the path to burnout? What if you're tolerating not feeling fulfilled in the job that you're doing or the work that you're doing? And that discomfort's been going for a really long time. You're seeing that multiple things in your life aren't ideal and you're tolerating them because your pain tolerance levels are high. And so you're capable of just keeping going and keeping going and keeping going. And the months pass and the years pass and you're still tolerating whatever that thing or those things are, rather than actually doing something to change them. I'm going to potentially poke a pain point for you, but this is a really good thing. It's one of the things with when I'm coaching my clients is I will be confrontational at times because it serves you to have that mirror being held up to you to show you where you are choosing to play small. Because often people will tolerate something that's not ideal because it's easier than actually making the effort to create change. And so you'll tolerate, let's say that you're working really long hours and you're in an office and you're indoors all day and you want to be outside. You're an outdoor girl. And rather than finding a way to change your working environment and to create something different, which requires effort, right? And there's the discomfort of the effort and walking the unknown path and potentially failing along the way. And so you're actually tolerating not being happy with where you're at. So something happened when I was young. I suffered from depression for a period of my life when I was around 18, 19 years old. And that experience and the fact that I have a tendency towards that has been a challenging gift and a gift. Because it's shown me that when I tolerate things that aren't ideal for too long periods of time, I start to go down that hole. I would start to go down that well. And the further down I go, the more challenging it is to come back up again. And I've experienced it multiple times of tolerating things that aren't ideal and then starting to go down that slippery slope. And I've become very, very good at catching myself before it goes too far. And so, although it wasn't the nicest of experiences, it has been something that has taught me not to tolerate the discomfort of living a life that does not fulfill me and that is not the right fit anymore. Because so many times in life something will be a fit for a period. We'll grow, we'll learn, we feel inspired by what we're doing, and then we'll reach a point where it's routine, routine, routine. There's no more growth. There's no more learning. There's no more inspiration. And it's just repeating the same day over and over again. But it's familiar. It's safe. It's a way that let's talk about work, because this was the case for me with work. I've been working in a gym in Cambridge for around 4 years. And when I first started in that job, I was so happy. I'd wake up in the morning, I'd be like, I am so lucky. I get to do what I love every single day. I get to be in an environment where I'm learning and growing, and I'm being exposed to other people who are further along. They've been, in the fitness industry for longer than me, and I was just absorbing and learning and working with new clients and being in those challenging situations of, personality types I hadn't worked with before, or body types that challenged me to go back and study and learn more things, until I wasn't learning anymore, until there was no more growth, until I found myself for a period of time, I was just repeating the same thing over and over. And I'd look for new ways to learn and grow. It wasn't big enough, it wasn't stretchy enough. And after a really short period of time of being in that state, I realized, well, this cycle of my life is done now. It's time to move on. And I started noticing more and more things that I was no longer willing to tolerate. The fact that I was indoors all day, the fact that I was working really long hours, the fact that I had to be on my phone so much to be administering, organizing clients and booking in times. And I felt like I was glued to my phone. And really, really quickly, all of these things that hadn't bothered me before because I was learning and growing suddenly started to bother me. And I'm the sort of person that when something isn't a fit anymore, I don't stick around. It's not about running away. It's about choosing the next step, choosing the next level, not staying in the comfort of familiarity and deciding to find a solution to what no longer works. And so where most people, because I built up a client list, I built a reputation. If somebody cancelled, someone else would fill in that slot. I had a waiting list for my classes, like going into a club. You had to sign in to come into the class, and people would be waiting at the door to see if somebody just didn't show up and they could fill that slot. So most people would say, well, you've now got a thriving business, because it was a business within a business that I built up. And most people would say it doesn't make logical sense to walk away. For me, I saw that my time was complete. And so I started looking for solutions. I started asking myself, so what is this teaching me? I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to be outdoors. I'm ready for more variety. And so where most people would stay in the familiarity, where it makes logical and rational sense to stay, I'm someone who knows that tolerating what is no longer a fit for me is only going to lead to sliding down that slippery slope, because I understand now that depression, rather than a problem, is showing me where my life is no longer an alignment with who I'm here to be. The life within me with a desire of expansion of itself, of learning and growth, not from need, from choice, is calling to me and saying, it's time to move on. And so sometimes we can make things like depression, anxiety, frustration, loneliness something bad. What if those challenging emotions and feelings are actually showing you, they're the mirror for you to see where what you are doing, thinking, or being is no longer a fit? And the louder those emotions shout, the more it's calling us to change. And sometimes people won't listen to these warning signs, or they won't listen to the call. Let's not call them warning signs, let's call them the call. They won't listen to the call for change. They won't listen to the inner voice and the life within them saying, it's time to grow, my darling. It's time to do things differently. And they will tolerate and tolerate and tolerate until life presents them with an experience that obliges them to change. Whether it's a health scare, whether it's losing their job, something will happen where change is the only way. So when we talk about manifestation, we think it's just about focusing on what you desire and hoping it's going to come to you. Visualization, no. It's about understanding that desire is a gift. It's not about wanting. It's not about attachment. It's understanding that desire is a gift because it serves as a signpost on your journey, something to move towards. And on your path towards that desire, it's the learning, the growth, and the expansion of consciousness, the healing that comes about, where unconscious comes to conscious awareness so that it can be recognized. That's what a goal serves as. That's what a desire serves as. So right now, if you're desiring greater income, greater freedom, location freedom, whatever it may be, that desire is the gift. It's the signpost in your path that gives you a reason and something to move towards, so that between where you are and where you are going, there's growth, there's learning, there's variety, there's new experiences, there's the expansion of consciousness, there's the healing. And when we choose not to allow that desire that starts to birth in us, when we choose to push it away, to tolerate the discomfort of our current circumstance and choose comfort and familiarity over growth and learning, that feeling, it starts to get louder and louder and stronger. So the question is, do you see the discomfort of certain emotions and feelings as a good thing because they're the driving force to the expansion of your consciousness? They are the life within you with a desire of expansion of self. Now we start to step into the realms of the subtle nuances of a parigraha, non-attachment, of satya, truthfulness, of ahimsa, non-violence. That's a conversation for another day because, yes, it's important to discuss that on your path to a desire. It is also about understanding what's that midpoint between moving towards a desire without needing the desire to be happy, to be fully present in the moment rather than happy in the future. But like I said, that's a conversation for another day. So what's the lesson here is, the longer you tolerate the things that are no longer fit for you, the longer you stay in comfort and familiarity without truly being who you are here to be. How often do you follow what seems logical because that's what society tells you you're supposed to do, versus actually following the calling of your heart? It's scary sometimes to follow the calling of your heart because it requires you to do things differently. It requires for you to take risks. But you're not here to play small. You're not here to tolerate a life that's mediocre. And this is why I talk about courage as being a skill to practice, a frequency to lean into. I'm going to leave you with that thought for today. When this podlet drops, we're starting the 30 days trial in the school. I'm actually going to give you the opportunity to join us. It will mean that you have fewer than 30 days because you're choosing to join last minute rather than before when you knew it was for you, following that intuition, that feeling, that calling. Still, it's a ridiculous price. So if you're listening to this and you want to trial out the school for 30 days, or for however many days are remaining in the 30 days, send me a message. I'll send you the links to join us. Again, it's between 97 and 111 euros. No, the price doesn't change because you have fewer days. This is also a lesson. If you've been listening and you've been knowing that the 30 days is for you and you've not been signing up and you sign up last minute, these are the lessons. Follow the call of your heart. Your body knows. And I'm going to leave you with this because the body knows. The mind will often repeat what it has known up until this point. And remember, through the words of Einstein, you cannot find a solution to the problem with the mind that created the problem. Those aren't his exact words, but you'll know the quote. Something around not being able to solve the problem with the same mind that created it. So as you move towards what you desire, you cannot create something you never created before with a mind that's created what you have in the present moment. So follow what your body knows is for you, because it's something beyond mind that is guiding you. Trust it. Tune next week for some more thoughts of what it means to build financial freedom, impact, purpose through what you do with your life from a place of heart and soul and intuition.